That'll do it. You think Johnny heard that?
He isn't deaf, my friend.
Come on, let's load up. Johnny gets back, we gotta be ready to take off. Well, Jason, will you put that thing away? We gotta get a head start on the cops. Come on, give me it. I don't know why we ever took up with you.
I baked a surprise for you, Johnny. Something special for your dessert. Why, Johnny, you haven't even touched your supper. What's the matter? Aren't you feeling well? Well, never mind. It's probably just a touch of the sun. Now, you must remember to wear your hat in the future.
There ain't gonna be no future, 'cause I'm quitting.
Quitting? Why, Johnny, I thought you liked working here.
I'm leaving tonight.
Oh, now. Can't we talk this over? I mean, if there's anything that's bothering you, if your room isn't comfortable or anything at all.
I want to go, that's all.
Oh, dear. That is a pity. Just when we were getting along so splendidly. Well, now, don't frown. You needn't be depressed about it.
I want my pay now.
Well, of course, dear boy, but I'm not going to let you leave this house until I give you something to cheer you up. Now, I have just the thing right here. The last of my homemade blackberry cordial. Now, I want you to drink this and no nonsense. Come on now. I want to see every drop of this gone when I get back with the money. Not necessary. Not necessary at all. I told you you could have anything you wanted. All you had to do was ask. Now, if you must have this money, you just take it. I won't even call the police.
Imagine a woman with such poise, such calm in the presence of, well, whatever happened to young Johnny? Remarkable. The remarkable Mrs. Hawke. That's the title of our excursion into the impossible tonight, or is what happened to Johnny impossible in this day and age? He was a thief. Whatever he got, he deserved, you say. Well, my friends, how can you judge until you know the full horror that overtook him out there in the farmyard? Well, that's a puzzle I invite you to solve in company with our cast. Jason Longfellow, played by John Carradine. Sheriff Willits, played by Paul Newland. Peter Gogan, played by Hal Baylor. the remarkable Mrs. Hawk, portrayed by Jo Van Fleet. If you've ever yearned for a small farm with a few chickens, a cow, and a pig or two, or three, I particularly recommend this story, because as sure as my name is Boris Karloff, you'll learn some animal husbandry that even the experts never dreamed of.
What happened? You fell and hit your head on a stone.
Well, come on, we gotta go help Johnny.
I'm afraid Johnny's beyond our aid or anybody's.
Jason, what made Johnny scream like that? You suppose she pushed him in the hog pen? You know, when hogs are hungry, well, they're dangerous.
If I knew Johnny's fate, my friend, I'd understand why Mrs. Hawk's farm is designated Cave Accipitrem among the Brotherhood.
Huh? Come on, speak American, will you?
Cave Accipitrem. Beware the hawk.
Oh. Hey, when you sent Johnny up to mooch a job from her, you knew what was gonna happen to him.
You crummy weasel. You knew what had happened to Johnny.
I didn't know. I just heard rumors, that's all. I still don't know what happened to him. If you want to find out, line your own pockets at the same time, let me go.
Ow, ow! I can't see. I can't see.
Stop bellowing. It's only a temporary disability.
We should have never taken up with you. You're just using Johnny to...
To confirm a rumor, that's all. You're a smart lad, Pete, and I like you. I'm going to take you into my confidence.
Don't do me no favors.
Ordinarily, a mere hobo rumor wouldn't interest me. Certainly not enough to chase it clear across the country. So what did excite me, you ask?
I ain't asking.
This. A copy of Wedding Bells magazine. And an advertisement that reads as follows. Attractive widow, owner of prosperous farm, desires lonely young man to share her work and future. Signed, Mrs. C. Hawk. Box 35, Wedding Bells magazine, etc., etc., etc.
Don't tell me no more. I'm catching the first freight west.
What does the phrase lonely young man suggest to you? Why should the young man be lonely? I'll tell you why. Because lonely young men are not so apt to have relatives who will question their sudden disappearance. Neither are hobos. Apparently, when the lady's supply of drifters dwindled, she turned to a new source. A Lonely Hearts magazine.
Look, if you know so much, why don't you tell the police?
Police? Where's your sense of chivalry, my boy? One doesn't rat on a lady, particularly a lady who so obviously can pay us for our silence.
Pay us?
Exactly. All we have to do is find out the secret of the Lady Hawk's gory little game, whatever it is, then we can name our own price.
Well, count me out.
You'll change your mind when the profits start rolling in. Here. Now, you start writing this. My dear madam. No, my dear friend. I saw your ad in the marriage magazine.
Wait a minute, wait just a minute. Even if she answers this, I ain't gonna go there.
We'll discuss that when the time comes. Where was I?
Mr. Peter Goguen. General delivery, Wellsville. Dear Peter, I hope you won't think it forward of me to call you Peter, but your letter was so warm and sympathetic Morning, Mr. Clemens. Good morning, Mr. Larkin.
Good morning, Mrs. Hawk.
How's the baby, Mr. Larkin?
Some better, thanks.
Oh, that's good. Now, you tell Mrs. Larkin to phone me if there's anything I can do. Anything, mind.
Yes, ma'am. I'll tell her. Oh, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Isn't he handsome, my Nanos? I'm so proud of him. Nanos. Isn't it sweet the way he responds? Pigs are very intelligent, you know. Oh, there's Tom Willits. Would you excuse me? Tom! Tom Willits! Oh, sure. Ulysses!
How many times have I asked you not to call me that?
Well, that's your name, isn't it?
Oh, it's my middle name. Well, I see you won all the hog prizes again. I just don't know how you do it.
Well, it isn't easy, I can tell you. With help so hard to get these days. My last young man was a terrible disappointment.
Your last young man? I thought you had Addis working for you.
Oh, no. Addis left some time ago. That leg of his was bothering him so much that he had to go south to the hot springs. And then I hired this young man, and he just suddenly asked for his pay and left. I don't know how I'm going to manage. It's so hard on a lone woman, Tom.
Yeah, well, I gotta go. I'm on duty.
Oh, pshaw. Sometimes I think that you were born with this badge pinned to your skin. You just take that job of yours too seriously. Now, Tom Willits, I'm going to be simply devastated if you don't buy me a lemonade.
Yeah, well, I'd like that, Mrs. Hawk. Really, I would very much, but I've got to go. I've got to get back.
So soon? But I thought maybe you'd like to drive me home and have a nice hot supper. Oh, sure. Hello there. Well, this certainly is a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect you so soon, Peter. It's so nice of your uncle to come with you.
I felt it my duty, Mrs. Hawks. The boy is my only kin, naturally. I felt concern for his future.
Well, naturally. Now, you just help yourself to the cookies, Peter. They're homemade.
Thank you, ma'am.
My Peter, I actually think you're blushing. Am I so frightening?
Yes, ma'am.
Peter.
I'm sorry, ma'am. No.
You must excuse the lad, Mrs. Hawks. He's always been very shy around the ladies.
How sweet.
That is why I had such misgivings about his answering a Lonely Hearts advertisement.
Oh, dear, what you must think of me.
But I think you're a most resourceful and charming lady. And now that I've met you, I have nothing but optimism for Peter's future.
Why, thank you, Mr. Longfellow. What did you say your line of work was?
Oh, investments.
Oh, stocks and bonds.
No, strictly cash flow speculations.
Oh, my, that sounds important. Why, Peter, you haven't even touched the cookies. Now, you mustn't be bashful.
And I mustn't intrude any longer.
Oh, dear, must you leave so soon?
Regretfully.
Well, thank you for bringing Peter. You've no idea how welcome he is.
I think I have, Mrs. Hawk.
I'll see you to the gate, Jason. Uncle Jason.
Now, Peter, if there's anything you want, anything at all, you only have to ask.
Thanks, but I'll be okay, ma'am.
I know you will. As soon as you've had a good nap, you'll be as chipper as a boar shoat. I know how exhausting travel can be. Well, here's your room. I hope you'll be comfortable. And happy, Peter. Now, pets, you mustn't cry. There are grapes for each of you. Albert, here's yours. No, Henry, you've had yours already. Now, greedy pigs get sent away to you know where. Why, Nanos, are you pouting? Well, now you mustn't fret. You'll get used to it by and by. Look, I've saved the biggest sponge for you. You may come back for a little while. Peter? Peter? Why, Tom Willets, what a perfect surprise. You're just in time for breakfast. I was trying out a new flapjack recipe.
Well, I didn't come for breakfast. This is official.
Oh, my. The way you say that sounds positively frightening.
I got a report last night that was pretty frightening, too.
Last night? Are you sure I can't get you a cup of coffee, Tom?
No, thank you. I understand you recently hired a kid named Norton.
Why, yes. Why? Has something happened to him?
Well, I was hoping you could tell me what had happened to him.
No, he just suddenly up and left. He didn't say where he was going.
Did he give you any reason for quitting so suddenly?
No, not a hint. You know, I was really very hurt. He came to the door asking for work, and he seemed like such a nice young boy that I didn't even bother to ask for references. I took him on good faith.
What about his partner?
A partner?
No. Yes, an ex-prize fighter named Pete Gogan. What's the matter, Mrs. Hawk?
Oh, nothing. I just didn't know that he had a partner.
Yeah, well, he has. They're both wanted for beating up and robbing a railroad guard. Supposed to be traveling with an old hobo named Longfellow.
Tom Willits. You came all the way out here just to tell me I was in danger. Oh.
Well, in case one or both of them came back, I just wanted to be sure you didn't let them in. You call me immediately.
Oh, I will, Tom. Just knowing that you're safe will be a great comfort to me.
Yeah, well, I have to get back to the office. I'll see. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for worrying about me, Tom.
Yeah, well, goodbye.
Good morning, partner.
Will you get away from me?
Now, what kind of a progress report is that?
Well, there ain't gonna be no report. And the only progress is gonna be me leaving on the first freight.
I take it you had a disturbing night.
Disturbing? That dame's nuttier than a fruitcake. She's even crazier than you, Jason.
You found something?
I saw something, and I still don't believe it.
What? What did you see?
Well, last night there was an awful racket in the hog pen. And I saw her going out to him, looking kind of like a witch. The moon shining in her eyes and her hair all hanging down.
Her hair hanging down, you say?
Yeah, clear down to her waist. And she was wearing a kind of a funny white nightgown.
Was it a sort of a robe, very loose and gathered in at the waist like this?
Yeah, but how'd you know?
Never you mind. What else?
Well, I watched her, and Jason, you ain't gonna believe this. She was talking to them critters and feeding them grapes, especially one she called nanos. And then she walked them over to the house. Man, was I scared, and I cut out of there right then.
Nanos? You're certain she called that pig Nanos?
Would I forget a screwball name like that?
Nanos. Mrs. Hawk, Sissy Hawk. Sissy. My boy, it's just possible that we have stumbled onto the most fantastic discovery since the Fountain of Youth.
Oh, are you kidding? You know there ain't no such place.
Who's to say, my boy, with any certainty, whether legends are fictions or supernatural facts? Peter, there was a very interesting picture in Mrs. Hawk's parlor. I want to take a closer look at it, among other things. Do you suppose it might excite the lady's suspicions if I were to drop by this evening on the very plausible pretext of saying farewell to my dear nephew?
Well, you can say goodbye to me right here, because I ain't gonna be over there.
That's what you think.
Why, Peter. Where on earth have you been?
I was over by the railroad tracks. One of your pigs got out, and I chased him, but he got clean away.
One of my pigs?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he'll come home when he's hungry. You must be famished.
Oh, no, ma'am, no.
I tried to wake you for supper last night, but you didn't even answer the door when I knocked.
Yes, I'm a sound sleeper, ma'am.
I guess you are. Now, Peter, I made a big stack of pancakes just before you came. I'm going to be very hurt if you don't eat every morsel.
I'm really not hungry, ma'am.
Oh, nonsense. A strapping young man like you is always hungry. Now, sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, my late husband, may he rest in peace, was a seafaring man. He always loved my homemade blackberry syrup. There. Now, don't be bashful. Eat your breakfast. I've already had mine. I just knew you'd love them. Oh, your coffee. You know, Peter, I have a confession to make.
A confession?
Yes, I didn't sleep last night for worrying about it. Well, your Uncle Jason, that is. I'm afraid I was very rude to him. I should have invited him to dinner. But what with all the excitement of your coming and all, I simply forgot my manners. Do you think I could possibly get him to come to supper tonight?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I think that'd fit into his plans just fine. Matter of fact, he mentioned just before he left that he'd like to drop by tonight to say goodbye.
Oh, good. Then I can expect him.
Yes, ma'am, you sure can.
How do you like your pancakes, Peter?
No, they're great. I just didn't realize I was so...
And this little piggy. Forgive me for leaving you to entertain yourself, Mr. Longfellow, but my oven's been acting up lately, and I was afraid my pork pie was baking too fast.
Pork pie. It smells delicious.
I just love men who have healthy appetites.
In fact, everything about your little farm has a delicious quality.
Well, how nice of you to say so.
So sparkling and perfect. So many pleasant little surprises everywhere one looks. That painting, for instance. Most provocative.
Do you really think so? Most people think I'm eccentric for having it in my parlor. But I say, show me a painting that's more appropriate for a hog farm.
Surely it's something more than just appropriate.
Well, yes, it reminds me of the place where I honeymooned with my late husband.
The Isle of Ai?
However did you guess?
The sign over your gate. Obviously, the Isle of Ai has some special meaning for you. Otherwise, it wouldn't grace this little island of perfection.
You're very observant, Mr. Longfellow.
A lifelong habit, Mrs. Hawk. For instance, this portrait. There's great courage in those eyes, and tragedy.
Yes. Well, she had a tragic marriage.
Children?
2. They died tragically, poor dears.
She was a close relative?
My niece, Middy.
Middy. Would that be a pet name for Medea?
Yes. You know, Mr. Longfellow, I have the feeling that you're not what you pretend to be.
Is anyone? False face doth hide what the false heart doth know. Shakespeare said that. And speaking of poetry, where is my lyrical young nephew?
Changing.
Ah. A woman's taming influence?
Won't you sit down, Mr. Longfellow? We'll have a nice glass of wine together. I'm very interested in your remarkable intuition.
No thanks.
Oh, but it's homemade.
Forgive me, but I must decline.
Oh, Mr. Longfellow, my husband was a seafaring man. He knew wines. He always said that my homemade blackberry wine was unequaled anywhere.
I do not doubt it, Mrs. Hawke. But your husband, Ulysses, was protected from your witchcraft by an herb. I think it was called moly. My researchers didn't tell me where to find the stuff.
Then you do know.
Everything, including the Greek translation of your name, Hawke.
Then it was you who put that nice young Johnny up to robbing me.
I really didn't expect him to succeed. I used him as a sort of guinea pig.
You're an evil man, Mr. Longfellow. You corrupted two nice young boys, and you'll suffer for it.
I, madam?
Don't try denying it. I know that Peter and Johnny were partners, and somehow they fell under your unwholesome influence.
Did Peter tell you that?
No. Sheriff Willits was here this morning, looking for the boys and for you, too. That's the only reason that I let you in this house tonight, to find out what exactly you are up to.
And now you know?
What do you intend doing with your information about me?
I intend blackmailing you. Please, no cries of outrage. Not from you, of all people. Besides, the price of my silence is just as much as it's worth.
How much?
Every nickel you have, and this little farm. Now, this isn't the first time you've had to move, is it?
No.
Impermanence is the curse of the eccentric, I always say. Now, if you'll be good enough to find me pen and paper, I'll draw up a simple little quitclaim deed for your signature. By the way, would it be terribly inconvenient for you to stay on until we've disposed of the premises? With the sheriff looking for Pete and me, we'll have to keep out of sight. You might even be good enough to show prospective buyers around the premises. Just put it down over there, if you please.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sign there, if you please. Done quickly and painlessly. And to prove there's no rancor on either side, I hope, when the time comes, that you'll allow Pete and me to help you pack. Pete, shouldn't he be changed by now?
Not quite. Some of them naturally take longer than others.
Mrs. Hawke, you didn't.
Oh, but I did.
Where is he?
In the barn. I always keep the slow ones in the barn till it's over. Would you care to see him? Oh, you're afraid.
Just cautious.
Why, Mr. Longfellow, there's nothing I wish to do to you. Not now. You have my solemn word.
You know, I really believe you mean that.
Oh, I do. Because despite what's happened, I really like you. Oh, Jason Longfellow, Phi Beta Kappa.
Oh.
You know, intellectual men were always my undoing.
It would be something to see.
Believe me, it is.
Lead the way, madame. I'll go in by myself if you don't mind.
Very well, if you wish. Mr. Longfellow,
Yes?
do you see him?
Yeah. I see him.
You're lucky. Most of my friends don't have the opportunity to see what's going to happen to them.
What's that?
It was on the tip of the feather, Mr. Longfellow.
What was on the feather?
The stuff that made you sneeze. Just a little pinch of powder, that's all it takes.
You didn't!
Oh, but I did.
No! No!
Oh, please. No cries of outrage, not from you, Mr. Longfellow, of all people.
Billy, was there anybody else with this old man? You know, a couple of younger men?
No, sir, just him. Want to see the library books he stole?
Yeah. Encyclopedia of Mythology, Greek English Dictionary, Legends of Ancient Greece.
They're stolen, I know. Because Miss Potter at the library wrote them on the bulletin board.
You've got pretty sharp eyes, Billy.
Yeah, and I didn't touch a thing, Sheriff, because it's all evidence, ain't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And all this writing, it's handwriting evidence, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Want me to collect the writing that's blowed away?
That'd be a big help, Billy, yeah.
Stealing library books. That'll get the FBI after him, won't it, Sheriff?
No, it's just a misdemeanor, Billy.
Oh. Sheriff, look at this one. It's got Mrs. Hawk's name on it.
Greek English translation. Nanos, John or Johnny. Circe, Hawk. Circe, Mrs. Hawk.
Circe? What's a Circe?
Well, it's not a what, Billy, it's a who. Apparently a Greek translation for Mrs. Hawk's name. Let me see those other notes, will you?
Boys, boys, now don't crowd. There's plenty for all. Oh, Tom. Good morning, Tom. Isn't it a beautiful day?
Good morning, Miss Hawk.
Oh, now. Isn't it about time you called me by my first name? Now, come on. I want to hear you say it. Sissy.
Sissy.
Now, that wasn't so awful, was it? Why, Tom Willits, you look absolutely haggard. I'll bet you didn't sleep a wink last night.
As a matter of fact, I didn't.
Oh. Well, you take this work of yours too seriously. And what's more, a bachelor's life doesn't suit a man of your sensitivity. What you need is a good home-cooked meal. And I'm going to go right in the kitchen and make you a good hot breakfast.
I've had my breakfast, Mrs. Hawk. I'm here on official business.
Oh, Tom, again.
I want to look around the place.
Well, what on earth for?
Now, if you insist, I can get a search warrant.
A search warrant? Well, that's not necessary. You can look anywhere you want to. I'll help you if you just tell me what you're looking for.
You please just go in the house.
All right. I love it when you get solemn and official. You know, I've always had a weakness for forceful men.
Mrs. Hawk, please.
All right, I'm going. But don't you take too long, because I'm going to fix you a wonderful surprise. Boys? Aren't they the cleverest pets? You know, pigs can be trained to do all sorts of things.
Impossible. Crazy.
Now, here we are. Some nice, fresh, hot donuts. Now, you sit right down and have this cup of coffee.
No, thanks.
Tom, you know something about me, don't you?
That's right.
Exactly what?
Everything that Jason Longfellow discovered, who you really are, what actually happened to all those men who disappeared here.
Oh, dear. I had hoped that all this unpleasantness would end with Peter and Mr. Longfellow. Couldn't you let the whole thing drop, Tom?
No, I couldn't.
You disappoint me. I thought you were different. I really liked you, Tom.
Because, my middle name was Ulysses?
Yes.
Then you admit you're guilty?
Oh, of course I am.
And you'll sign a full confession?
I have one prepared. I've had it for a long time. It's in my desk. I'll go get it. I guess I'm just getting a little tired of going on and on. You know, Jason Longfellow said a very wise thing. He said, impermanence is the curse of the eccentric. I guess I am rather eccentric.
Just wonder what makes you do it.
Why does a spider eat her mate?
You know, when I was searching the place, I honestly hoped I'd find where you'd hidden those bodies. It's going to be hard for people to believe what really happened to those men.
Oh, well, when you show them my confession, they'll believe you. In the meantime, I hope you haven't told anyone, Tom.
If I told anybody a thing like that, they'd lock me up.
You know, that happened once, long ago in Salem, Massachusetts, when it was still a colony. A very respectable deacon caught on. Oh, he got right up in church and denounced me. He said I was Satan incarnate. There was a very unpleasant trial, after which they took him away. and burned him. Oh, here it is. Now, sit down. Of course, this is in 5th century Greek. But that's at the time I was going to retire. It says, I do confess that I am Circe, the Greek sorceress who changed the sailors of Ulysses into hogs. Then perhaps you should explain that the English translation of the word Circe is hawk. Then perhaps you could add a list of my conquests. Jason Longfellow, Johnny Norton, Addis Martin, Henry...
Well, that's plenty for a starter.
Oh, but there were many, many more. I've lived a long, long time, Tom.
How did you do it?
With a little pinch of powder. White powder, Tom.
No. You didn't.
Isn't it odd how they always say, oh, no, you didn't? When it's perfectly obvious that I did. Why, Tom, it didn't take you long to change.
Sure beats me how you can handle pigs, Mrs. Hawk.
Well, it's just a knack I have, Al.
Just these 5 going?
Yes, just these 5. My, how I'm going to miss them. Such dear pets. Always makes me a little sad to have to send them off to the slaughterhouse. You may load them now, Al. Goodbye, Addis. In a little while, that leg of yours won't bother you anymore. Goodbye, Johnny. I forgive you. Goodbye, Peter. You were such a sweet boy. As for you, Mr. Longfellow, you should be ashamed for leading the others on. Now go on. Goodbye, Tom. Ulysses Willits. I'm really sorry.
See that? All heart, that Mrs. Hawk.
Yep, soul of the earth.
Them kind are hard to find these days.